Order the May 20th meeting of the Conestoga Valley Board of School Directors. I'd like to welcome everyone that's here tonight, as well as those that watch us online. And you will start, if you'll join me, to a pledge at the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Martin, would you give us attendance, please?
We have 6 school directors present tonight. Absent are Dr. Martin, Mrs. Fisher, and Mr. Hurst.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. This is our second meeting of the month.
It's where most official votes are taken, and many of which are listed on a consent agenda, which includes those items which are routine or have been discussed at our previous work sessions. All agendas and related documents are posted on the district website along with board notes. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda?
There are not.
Any from the board? If not, I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is that a second? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed or abstaining say nay. Okay, we have an agenda. And as usual, we'll start with the board commendations, which are the board's opportunity to recognize staff and students for special achievement. Congratulations to the 8 Conestoga Valley High School students who were named senior winners by the Lancaster-Lebanon Music Educators Association. The winners were Band Owen Ressler, Orchestra Phoebe Gurgis, Chorus Evan Zimmerman, Classroom Irelis Diaz-Turvid, Marching Band Katrina Lingo, Tri-Am Nora Castagna, and musicianship Micah Hoover and Jackie Kelly. Congratulations to Conestoga Valley High School National Honor Society members who organized this year's mini-thon. The students and staff raised $10,102.31, and I want to know who gave the 31 cents. For 4 Diamonds, which helps children and families impacted by childhood cancer. Congratulations to the Conestoga Valley High School students, Draven Ober and Destiny Greggs, who were recognized at the IU13 Partnership Appreciation Luncheon. Draven was named the recipient of the Cheryl Ludwig Memorial Award for his leadership and excellence demonstrated at CTC's Materials Handling and Logistics Program. David is graduating from CV High School with a full-time job at US Durham. Destiny was a speaker at the luncheon and shared about her job training journey, which has led her to employment at Oakley Manor North. Congratulations to the Conestoga Valley High School boys track and field team, who captured the Section 2 title over Elizabethtown. The title marks the fifth section title in school history and the first since 2012. The boys finished the 2024 outdoor track and field season with a 7-0 record. Congratulations as well to the CV girls track and field team, who placed second at the Section 2 championships. The following members of the boys team were crowned individual league champions in their respective fields: Jaden Johnson, David Lotzbow, Jordan Sensney, and the relay team of Michael Jackson, Elijah Marquez, Gabe Justiano, and Jaden Johnson. And the girls team, they were also crowned individual league championships for Alonda Ortiz, Tia Logan, and the relay team of Isabella Johnson, Tia Logan, Alonda Ortiz, and Deone Johnson. 4 teams from Conestoga Valley High School competed in the 40th Annual Envirothon in Lancaster County. Congratulations to CV's Team A, who took first in the wildlife category and 3rd overall, while Team B finished 5th overall. Team A was comprised of Caleb Knoll, Andrew Marine, Mara Zimmerman, Lisa Zimmerman, Melenis Plaza. Team B was Naomi Longy, Leah Hilton, Maya Harner, Allison Harner, and Gracie Horse. I think I'm going to turn this over to you to take care of our
retirees?
retiree recognition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight's a very special evening for a couple different reasons. First of all, later on in the agenda, we'll get to preliminarily approve the list of graduates whose high school careers coming, culminating this year. But first and foremost, we get to honor our employees whose careers are coming to their end. So the culmination, we get to celebrate the culmination of quite a few wonderful careers this evening. So before we introduce those who are with us tonight, I do want to mention those who couldn't join us this evening. I won't say a lot about them, but I will just share their name and who they are and what their position is in the district. So retiring this year but unable to join us this evening were are Tim Ardinger, who's our catering manager for the district. He's been with CV for 9 years. Patricia Kritzer from Fritz Elementary School. She's been a life skills and learning support teacher for 16 years with the district. We also have Donna Whitmer, who has 26 years in the district as a tech support specialist. And I believe Donna did want to be here this evening, but I think she ran into some traffic coming home from the beach, is my understanding. So don't feel too bad for her for not making it. So, and then we also have Virginia Zimmerman from Smoketown Elementary School, who's been a reading support teacher with 34 years at Conestoga Valley. And last but certainly not least, Margaret Poplar, also from Smoketown Elementary, who's been a learning support and autistic support teacher for 35 and a half years with Conestoga Valley School District. So want to make sure we acknowledge them, even though they're not able to be with us this evening. So first, we're going to introduce those who are able to join us this evening. And once I call your name, I'll say a little bit of a bio about you and share a little bit of background. The information I'm going to be sharing was provided by your immediate supervisor. So if you're a classroom teacher, probably it was your building principal providing most of this information. And if you're in some other position, it may have been another supervisor, but they shared some really good sentiments about everybody's career that I wanted to pass along to everybody. So once your name is called, feel free to walk up to Ms. Groff and Mr. Talley, and they will shake your hand and provide you with a plaque and with a party gift from us. So.
Shake my hand, you can catch the
So, first up, we have Wendy Evans. Wendy has been a high school math teacher with Conestoga Valley for the past 17 years.
Thank you.
So, her principal had the following to say about her. Miss Evans, our trailblazing computer science teacher of 17 years, is concluding her illustrious career with a legacy of innovation and empowerment. Through her tireless dedication, she sparked a passion for coding and technology in countless students, paving the way for future leaders in the digital age, certainly very important in today's world. As she embarks on her next chapter, her impact on shaping the next generation of programmers and innovators will continue to resonate far and wide. So congratulations. Okay. Next, we have Kevin Allen from Brownstown Elementary School. Kevin is a 4th grade teacher at Brownstown who has spent the past 24 years with Conestoga Valley. Prior to his 24-year career at Conestoga Valley, Kevin had 10 years of work for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in the governor's office, the PA Council on the Arts, as well as an early career as an equity actor performing in many productions over a 20-year span. We wish Kevin well as he starts a new chapter to include theater and traveling. Congratulations, Kevin. Next, we have Tony Mayo, high school social studies teacher, 25 years at Conestoga Valley. Yes. After years of instilling a profound understanding of history and social studies, Mr. Tony Mayo, or should I say Lord Mayo, our esteemed social studies teacher of 25 years, is embarking on a well-deserved retirement journey. His commitment to fostering critical thinking and historical awareness has left an indelible mark on generations of buckskins. Though we will likely still see him at our future stage performances, his impact on shaping informed and engaged citizens will be cherished for years to come. So, congratulations, Tony. Tony's one of the first teachers I had the opportunity to meet once I was appointed here, and we have something in common. We're both huge Baltimore Orioles fans, so I knew he was a good decision maker and an intelligent professional from that moment. So, let's go O's. Laura Weidensaw. Lauren is from Fritz Elementary School. She has spent the last 25 years with Conestoga Valley as a learning support and autistic support teacher. Lauren has served as the primary learning support teacher at Fritz. Her warm heart has allowed her to build strong relationships with students, parents, and staff. Laura sees the potential and beauty in every child she teaches. She has been a gift to them and to us. Thank you, Laura, for your service. We wish you a most beautiful retirement. Laurie Dupuis, Brownstown Elementary School. Laurie has been a third grade teacher and has been with the Conestoga Valley School District for 31 years. Laurie is completing her 37th total year of teaching, with 31 of those being at Brownstown Elementary. Laurie has taught grades 1st through 3rd as well as multi-age during her tenure at Conestoga Valley. We wish Laurie the best as she plans to have more time to travel and spend with family. Congratulations. Next, we have Susan Scales, high school business teacher. Susan has been with Conestoga Valley for 31 years of service. Dr. Susan Scales is leaving behind a legacy of excellence and empowerment. With her unwavering dedication, she's nurtured a generation of aspiring entrepreneurs and business leaders, instilling in them the skills and confidence to thrive in the competitive world of commerce. As she bids farewell to the classroom, her influence will endure, serving as a beacon of inspiration for future generations of business enthusiasts. Congratulations. Next, we have Sandy March. Sandy is the administrative assistant for attendance at Smoketown Elementary School and has been with Conestoga Valley for 33 years. Miss March concludes her time as the Smoketown administrative assistant for attendance. It is important to acknowledge how much she does for our building. Her ability to juggle several tasks to manage the flow of the day is most impressive. Her warm smile and familiar face will be dearly missed by the staff and families who are the Smoketown community. And I'll certainly miss you letting me slide into athletic events free of charge. Still, I know you're keeping a tab. So, and you're still going to come back to remind me of that. So, congratulations, Sandy. So before we conclude with this, I'm not sure if anybody out there was doing the mental math, but if mine's correct, we have about 36 and a half total years of experience that we're losing at Conestoga Valley with these individuals and those who weren't able to be here tonight. So very hard to replace, impossible to replace. Thank you for all of your service, but congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. I hope you all find peace and wellness. So.
Okay, we ready? 1, 2, 3. I can do one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
One more round of applause. Thank you.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
306 and a half.
306?
306. It's a lot of experience.
Yes. Superintendent's comments. Dr. Barker, anything?
I do. We do have, as we, it's always sad to see our retirees leave, but it's also great when we get to welcome new buckskins. So we do have a few new employees to introduce this evening as part of my report. So first we have Jamie Souls. Jamie, if you can give a quick little wave. Jamie is going to join us as a reading specialist at Fritz Elementary School. She has her bachelor's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in curriculum and instruction, and her reading specialist certificate, all from Penn State. She has taught various grade levels at the elementary level in the Harrisburg School District, Susquehanna Township School District, and most recently with the Central Dauphin School District. So we're excited about the wealth of experience she's bringing to us, and welcome, Jamie. Next, we have Dr. Robin Hum. Dr. Hum? Dr. Hum will be joining us as our new Director of Special Education beginning in July. So a position we've been looking to fill for quite a while in the district. So Robin brings 22 years of experience in special education. She was the Assistant Director of Special Education for Lincoln Intermediate Unit 12 for 3 years, and most recently has served as the Director of Special Education and the Assistant to the Superintendent for Pupil Services with the Southwestern School District since 2020. She also serves as an adjunct professor at York College of Pennsylvania. She has a bachelor's degree in elementary and special education from Millersville, her master's in special education from Shippensburg University, and her doctorate in education leadership from Immaculata University. So we're excited about Robin joining our special ed team. And as you can tell by the retirements, you have quite a few positions to work on helping to fill. So welcome, Robin. And finally, we also want to introduce Jasmine Massey. Jazz?
Yes.
Jasmine is going to be taking over for Sandy March at Smoketown as the administrative assistant for the building for attendance at Smoketown. She recently moved to Lancaster from New York, quite a culture shock, I'm sure. So during her time in New York, Jasmine worked for Sony Music, as well as held other positions. She is a CV resident and is looking forward to working in education, meeting with families, and especially being around students. While in New York, she served as an executive assistant for Sony, as I mentioned, working in their business and legal affairs department. She has her associate's degree in business management from Manhattan Community College. And from what I understand, I don't know this from firsthand account, I heard you have quite some stories about some talented artists and stuff that you got to run into from time to time while working with Sony. So can't wait to hear those stories one day.
Welcome.
And that concludes my report this evening.
Are there any board comments on district activities?
I attended the elementary band and orchestra concert last Tuesday. I think it's a great job, and it's amazing to see the growth from December to May. How much the
Thank
parents
goodness
like.
there's growth from September to May.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it? Everyone's doing concerts.
yeah.
Any other board comments? Mrs. Martin, do we have any correspondence? No one ever writes to us, do that.
That's okay.
Then I am going to welcome up to the table Tony Breland and Dr. Leek for our final Tesco presentation.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share our report with the community. With the work that we've done, we've had a really good time partnering with the district and learning more about the district and being able to share recommendations for how the district can move forward in being more equitable and culturally responsive. So we can go to the next slide. So the presentation that we're going to share will essentially just provide an overview of some of our findings through the improvement study, if you will, the quantitative and qualitative study that we conducted on the district over the course of this past school year. We will provide an executive summary. Ultimately, the work that we have done has been systemic. We've looked at the district from a systemic lens, and we will share some of the findings that we found as we were studying the district.
So we'll begin with just numbers that, probably we all know or even suspect. And this is really sort of the strength we find really of Conestoga Valley, that diversity in your student demographics. And so we see here that you have a mix of cultures and races. And again, we found that to be the strength. The next slide shows the demographics of the employee population. And so while the diversity in your student population is not necessarily reflected in the staffing population, we found some, in our findings, we actually found some pluses in terms of relationships. And we'll go into that in terms of our findings. And we have 3 areas of findings. So on our next slide, we'll see, we start with vulnerability. In our findings, we found we had 3 categories of findings. We had areas of vulnerability, we had areas of inconsistency or inadequacy, and then we had areas of equitability. Those areas that were equitable, and we'll get into that in a minute, but we found the relationships with of staff and students to be actually one of your strengths. So you can see there are 5 key areas of vulnerabilities, and disparities and disproportionalities ranked among those areas of vulnerabilities, discipline and special ed and AP and gifted enrollment. We also found overall, when we talk about culture responsive practices, is really the extent to which staff was trained or felt that they had the capacity really to implement consistent and effective culture responsive practices. We'll go to the next slide.
This next slide represents areas where we found the district to be very equitable. In particular, when looking at how the perceptions of how students feel in the school, the vast majority of them feel a sense of safety and feel valued and included. And staff and parents also echo that in the way that they have responded to this. And we also had an opportunity to do walkthroughs of all of the schools. So we were able to see evidence of this as well as we were walking through with, posters and the ways that the classroom teachers were very inviting and welcoming for students. In addition to that, some of the other equitable findings consisted of the use of tablets and computers and other technology. Not only was that an area where there was high agreement that it's used, but we also saw evidence of that. And during our focus groups, that was also reiterated in the focus groups that technology is something that the district values and that is absolutely in use on a regular basis. And it is integrated throughout all of instruction. And we saw that from the earliest of grade levels all the way up to the highest grade levels.
Another area of findings is inconsistency, inequity. And so I talked a little bit about relationships. And so one of the things that we did see positive staff relationships with students and with parents. But the survey results showed a bit of a disconnect between the staff perception of relationships and then the parent perceptions of relationships. And then we also saw some differences in agreement around, and high agreement rates around like different student groups. And so in terms of parent agreement rates. And so while we saw there was evidence, we saw warmth and we saw pleasantries and we saw relationship, we did in our observations, the survey results, when we asked stakeholders, we did see some inconsistent in terms of the agreement rates. Another area of inconsistency are the culture responsive skills and practices. So in our observations, we just noted the inconsistent capacity in staff implementation. So we just saw it unevenly implemented in different spaces, and we did walkthroughs in all of the schools. We also include the curriculum overhaul. We know that the district is working really hard in doing an overhaul of the curriculum. And so while we can't say that it's equitable because it has not been finalized, we do know, just given our interviewing and our collecting data, that the process is sort of moving in that direction. And so we know that that's an area that is really is being really looked at and reviewed and overhauled as well.
Part of the study not only collected data from perception surveys, but we also had an opportunity to conduct focus groups. We also conducted document reviews. And so those documents that we reviewed include the analysis of the student handbook, the staff manual, and the board policy. And when we look at the student handbook, some of the areas where equity can be increased would be areas around language, specifically as it relates to accuracy and inclusivity type of language, and language that also addressed diversity. And we also noticed in the discipline policy, the presence of zero tolerance discipline policy, which a lot of the literature and research to date actually speaks more against discipline, zero tolerance discipline policies, and really promotes more of a restorative approach. And so that was an area where we made some recommendations. In addition to that, when we looked at the staff manual had not been updated for some time, and so a lot of the language was not centered around diversity or inclusion or equity. And so that's an area where there's an opportunity for the district to make some changes. And when we analyzed board policy as well, we noticed that there were some areas where language of inclusivity may not have been in existence, particularly around family structures and cultural responsiveness around curriculum and discipline practices. And so these are areas where the board may want to take some time to look at how it can be a little bit more inclusive in some of the language. And those are some of the recommendations that we made related to the document findings. Yeah, ultimately, when this is all said and done, you can go to the next slide. When this is all said and done, the district has a great opportunity to really begin the process of strategic planning around how to make the district more equitable. And this is a system-wide process, and so the timing for that really, when we talk about change and change implementation, we're looking at period over the next 5 to 7 years in which district leaders can take some time to really work on the various areas that were outlined in the report. We look at 2 different pathways. We think of one pathway is the pathway of the work that the adults do, and that primarily is centered around professional learning. I know that some of that work has already started with the curriculum overhaul, but in addition to that, more work that needs to be done is centered around being more culturally responsive and addressing the needs of students. And then the second pathway is really more about the work that is done with families and with students in helping create a more equitable district. And that includes, the strength of the relationships and building stronger relationships, and then creating student-centered, culturally responsive approaches to instruction. And that, of course, is a lot of that happens through the professional learning. So you'll see that overarching all of the work that needs to happen would be a lot of professional learning, specifically centered around how to create a more culturally responsive district and addressing the disparities that existed in the vulnerable areas that were listed a little bit earlier. So ultimately, that is kind of the brief overhaul. And we, again, want to thank you for this opportunity to partner with the district. We hope that perhaps there might be other opportunities for us to partner, especially as it relates to culturally responsive practices and professional learning around that. And we would certainly make ourselves available if that is a direction that you would want to go in the future. Thank you.
Can I ask if you have any idea as to what percentage of our students are somehow marginalized for whatever reason?
So that's a tough question to answer, and I actually cannot give you a percentage of how many students are marginalized from that percentage. But we can look at some of the data centered around the overrepresentation of Black and Latino students, in particular the Latino students who are overly identified for discipline referrals. You can also look at the overrepresentation of Black and Latino students who are overrepresented in special education and underrepresented in the advanced and AP courses. So that gives you somewhat of an idea of where some of that work would take place and where there may be a level of marginalization, if you will.
I was comparing this to an article in the Sunday paper from a young student. I think it was him, I'm not sure. And he identified he felt 36%. And when I look at our numbers, just the breakdown that we have, it's about where we come in. Even though he included more issues like nationality, and neither he nor ours talks about gender, religion, language, and all of those things can add to that number very quickly.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Well, we thank you for coming to bring us, our final report.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the school year.
Dr. Mann, Dr. Churcher, Mrs. Schaefer, ready to finish this class.
Putting this to bed.
We had some goals because we're getting ready to start a new plan.
Already started.
Or
Yes,
already started.
right, we've already started planning out, we have. What we wanted to do was just wrap up the current plan for you, so this is your last report on the current three-year
Yeah.
comprehensive plan of where we landed on those year three deliverables. So we're just gonna hit the high levels. We did, instead of all the slides this time, we just did a quick dashboard for you to simplify it and really show you where things landed. So Dr. Mann's gonna start with the profile of a CV learner.
As you know, the profile of CV learner is our North Star, and it guides everything that we do. It's one of the main things in our curriculum rebuild that we just talked about in guiding that process. So this area has grown as we've gone further into our work. And this will continue on, obviously, in our next plan and so forth. So developing that, then also how to report that out, looking at report cards. Before we had work habits as part of our secondary report cards. We're going to switch that out with the rubrics here and report on their profile. So that's work that's going to continue to be developed.
Could you just explain as you're going, like what does the asterisk, like with the
Yeah.
yellow, with the asterisks?
Going on to the next plan.
So it's kind of, it's still in progress going on to the next plan.
Yes.
Just wanted to clarify for
Is there a
everyone.
difference between the yellow with the asterisks or green with the asterisk?
The yellow is, we didn't get all the way there in this plan.
Yeah.
So with the profile, we paused it this year because we wanted to get the math and the ELA curriculum work going and then bring the profile back in. So it's
Yeah.
yellow because it's in process, not
Yeah.
fully complete. The asterisk is simply, we carried it over. So if you recall the last couple presentations, we did a lot of bringing things from the old plan over to the new plan. And so this
So
just gives you a little bit more of a
All
concrete
the asterisks are things that are
representation.
being carried over into the new plan.
Yep.
And
Even if they're green and we met
but
the
at
action
the
step
top
for
we
this
have
plan.
3 yellows that are not being carried over.
The yellows at the top, okay, great question. So the 4 at the top are the summary of that big category overall. And then when you go down into the action step section,
Oh, okay.
now you're looking at the actual action steps that we wrote in year 3 of this plan. So where it says profile of a CV learner, 1, develop and implement rubrics. That was the actual literal action step for year 3 that we wrote. We have the rubrics, they're developed, we just didn't get to the implement because we're weaving that in with the curriculum. So it's a yellow, it wasn't fully completed, this specific action step, we're bringing it over. But overall, for profile, we're still a yellow area for this year.
I got
Mhm.
it.
And then the white under the instructional model, that
is complete?
The number one there is the big action step area. A and B tell you exactly what we worked on in the instructional
Okay.
model. So
Okay.
the action step for
A
year
and B
three was to
does
examine and implement the strategies. Specifically this year, we started examining and implementing PBIS and standards-based curriculum.
We need keys whenever you do
You do,
this.
I know, I thought this would simplify it. I'm going back to the slides next time, yes.
Well, just put the key in.
Yes,
I
yes.
got it.
Yes.
So all of those with the stars, we're going to be seeing the next 3 years.
Yep.
Mhm.
So even though, so that's with the CV instructional model, we met our action step, which was just
Yeah.
examine and implement PBIS, but it's not all the way to anchored in our system, we've evaluated it, we're getting the outcomes we want, right? So we met this small action step, but we haven't necessarily mastered the entire area in the plan.
Those issues, will those be the first things you address going forward or not necessarily?
The ones with the asterisks? Not necessarily, I mean, not necessarily.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mhm.
gotcha. Any other questions?
Yeah, and I hate to ask, the 2 greens without asterisks in the
Yep.
green?
Yep, so Sarah can speak to the trauma plan.
So that means we're done, we're completely done.
Oh,
So that was something that we.
wrapped
up.
Pretty
Green,
package.
we're done, we're great,
Yeah.
so,
Checked it off.
so
No, we're
that,
continuing with it, but we're done developing
yes,
it.
so there's nothing that we
Yes.
have to do with the plan. Now, what we're gonna do with that trauma plan is we're gonna continue working with that
Mhm.
and working on our screening ideas, our staff education ideas, our student education ideas, and that's gonna be something that's just always a work in progress. But now we have a plan that we can move forward with, and we can always get into, the details and the data collection as we continue down the road. So that's a wrapped up bow and done, that's why it's green.
Okay.
I think it's always difficult when you look at these, cause it's hard. What you want is you want things just to kind of become invisible, I guess sometimes, just part of your standard operating procedure.
Right.
And so there are things, it doesn't mean we're not focused on that or it's not a priority anymore, but I think we were confident enough that we're at a point where we don't have to have it written into a plan. We don't have to, we don't have to keep tabs on it as much because it's kind of becoming just part of what we do.
And I would say similarly with the internship in the business council, again, where Mel has taken us and where we are with that, now we've met that. However, it's a major focus going forward.
That's it, we look forward to the next report starting all over again.
Thank you.
At this point, we open the floor to anyone from the public who would like to make a comment on an agenda item. There's lots of them there. Now, do we have any comments from CBEA? We don't even have a representative here, see, or other employee groups. And that leaves us with the consent agenda. It is long, 41 items. I can't remember one quite this long.
And
Probably this time last year.
and I do have one or two questions.
That's okay. I'm gonna go first because you have a list of questions.
I do, and I do have them in order, so.
My first one is on item N. What are we going to do with the money from the harp sale? Is that gonna be put somewhere for the next?
That's just gonna go right into the general fund.
That goes right back into the general fund, that's not music department money.
No, it's just
Okay.
a revenue line item.
The other one was, item R. The dates on that contract say January to June 2024. Is that a mistake?
No, that was an oversight that I did not bring this contract in January, so that this is a late contract edition.
Oh, it's a delayed contract. Okay, I didn't know if, somebody got that wrong. I think that's all I had. But evidently, it's a whole bunch that I missed. This is Trowbridge.
Okay, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, item I. Can somebody remind me what this is, the McGraw-Treadway Consulting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you want me to pull them up? Jill, do you wanna?
Yeah, so this is our two IT staff members who retired last year. They come back and do consulting work for us to do onboard our new devices. So they'll be
Okay.
working with our Smoketown teachers
Okay,
and our middle school teachers to go through the onboarding process, get into their new MacBooks, go through their initial training. So just alleviates some of the pressure on the tech team over the summer when that process is very busy.
okay, thank you. And L, the steel standards, what was that again?
So the STEEL standards, that is work coming up in July with our elementary teachers. They're the new science and technology standards, and so we are doing a lot of curriculum work around the STEEL standards. So Jason Zimmerman, actually a former CB teacher, is coming out to work with our elementary team to help us work on some of our big district level documents for designing those curriculum sequences.
Okay, thank you. S,
I'm sorry, what letter?
S.
S.
The accelerating language statement of work, but when I pulled it up, it said ESL Consulting Annual.
So this is our third year working with Dr. Carmen Shahadi Rao. She's been providing coaching and support to our ESL teachers and also our classroom teachers. This is funded through Title III or ESSER, so this is a federally funded
Okay,
professional development contract.
Does that become pass-through funds then?
No, more just a contracted services, professional
Okay.
services.
T, the Alex, going to open learning, what was that again?
Adaptive learning.
Alex?
Yeah.
It's our library, one of our library subscriptions.
That's, yeah, and I'm searching for mathematics.
Oh.
We're just renewing it.
And what does it do? I mean,
It's a program
I
that.
think we need a definition of adaptive learning.
Yeah, and helping students that are struggling with mathematics,
okay,
in support of that.
okay, thank you. U, actively learning,
Actively Learn is a program that allows us to access a lot of contemporary current events as well as text that allows students, the teachers to go in and pull up very specific text instead of like a whole article, that would go bits and pieces. We've also used that in the past to lease books. So if we find ourselves short in a particular novel or something like that, we can lease books as well. We've been using that probably about 8 to 10 years, and it's every department with the exception of math uses it.
okay. Thank you. V, capstone, Pebble Go,
Pebble Go.
Pebble Go.
This is Pebble Go renewal. That's an elementary.
It's elementary library.
That was one of the contracts, it wasn't clear, you just saw the contract.
These are, the renewal ones are our annual subscriptions, that pretty much every May or June, you'll see
right?
these same items come up. So we like to go, we like to try to get them early in the spring, so we're not running up against.
I'm not real good at remembering from year to year.
You know, it's been 12 months.
That's why I'm sorry to ask so many. What is the EduPuzzle in X?
I can do that.
Okay,
Teachers supported, another resource that our teachers use for planning instructional activities.
And it's like a digital platform, they can create videos or have access to videos that incorporate like quiz questions for kids.
And a lot of these subscriptions also connect to Schoology, our learning management system, so it helps, you know, as far as managing that, so one of the connects to Schoology as well.
and I presume in the EduPlanet,
EduPlanet plan of 21 is where we actually house all of our curriculum. So when we bring to the board this fall the curriculum for approval, this is actually gonna be houses all the units, but it will also be the public facing website where parents and family members can go log on and see the units of study for each course and grade level.
I remember now, thank you. Frontline,
Frontline's an HR tool.
okay.
Sorry, yeah, so it has different features, we have, the solutions we have with it are for tracking professional development, Act 48, My Learning Plan, anything else I'm missing? ASOP, absence management, substitute management.
Okay. Thank you. Codable,
That is our coding program for elementary school. So again, our librarians who are right now facilitating some of our STEM learning, that's the product that the students get to use to learn how to code.
okay. And that's elementary, okay. My Plan PA,
My Plan PA is the new tool that we're using to track students' internships and help them connect with outside
okay.
organizations and so forth, as well as working on their Act 158 plan as they work towards graduation requirements.
Okay. Noodle tools. That sounds interesting.
Pool noodles.
I know, yeah.
It's for gym class, they can hit each other.
I actually don't know what that one is.
Noodles.
Noodle tools?
Noodle tools is, I'm gonna
Library.
it's library, but I.
Library.
Okay, thank you.
What is it, library?
Bibliographies.
Library resource.
It's a library resource.
And did you say geography?
Bibliography.
Bibliography.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's what the-
Nearpad,
Nearpod, again, platform that allows our teachers to access different content as well as present it in a little different way, connects with Schoology, interfaces with Schoology.
let me look at E because my writing is poor. The Newsella,
Newsella, differentiated text, we're using it with our 4th and 5th grade teachers as a supplementary resource for their units of study. What's great about Newsella is it could be an article on freshwater availability, and it could be a 5th grade text, but it will actually differentiate the article to a 4th grade level, a 3rd grade level, so any student can engage with that. There's also an assessment component to it, which is really helpful for our new units of study.
what I noticed when I looked at it was that there's at least four different options. And it looked like maybe option 3 was highlighted. Do we know which option?
We do, and I actually just received last week an updated, more detailed quote for this that I can provide. But we are looking at the ELA, the social studies, and the science option.
Social studies and what?
Science.
Thank you. On-hand school?
On-hand school is the program we use that manages our data, district data, attendance data, as well as looking at PBAS and so forth. It's a tool that brings it all together into one platform.
Okay. Hosting solutions and library consulting? And I saw there were different prices for elementary, high school and middle school. It is item GG.
Power Library, are you
Yes.
asking about?
Mhm.
Again, database that was used in the library, not sure anything about elementary.
There's one for each school, I believe.
One for each school, okay. That's elementary.
HH read, 180 digital?
Right, again, similar to what we said earlier about, I think, Alex, this is Read 180. It's a program that we use to help support students that are struggling, primarily use it middle and high school.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Swank?
Swank is a streaming service that we use so that we are legal. You can't just show movies, without,
Netflix,
right. So it's a program that we use and of course our, I think the library manage it.
Okay. Wilson Reading Fun Hub?
Fun Hub goes along with our foundations program in K-2, and so these are additional, games and lessons for teachers to use to reinforce those phonics and phonemic awareness lessons that they do in the classroom.
KK World Book Online Advanced Differentiated Package?
Yeah, again, our library, notebook subscription allows, gives us access to that database associated with that. Zello is a program that we use to manage our artifacts for chapter 339, it's actually K to 11, but you can say K to 12, but K to 11. So when students are working through 339, which is their career and work standards, and putting together their artifacts,
Okay.
as they graduate from high school, there's, what's that, 21 artifacts, they come to our program from K to
I remembered hearing about it, but wasn't real sure. On base with IU 13?
So that was last week. Anthony Spataro presented that contract to the board. And Bid Recruiter and GDC. Next, and OO were all last week agenda items and
And
presentations.
just remind me again though, what was the on base with the IU?
That's the
Isn't
document
like-
retrieval.
yeah.
It takes all the documents and
Document
makes it into like a
retrieval.
searchable database and hosts it,
Okay.
through the IU 13 then. I remembered that one.
And I remembered Vid Recruiter and the other, and Devapar.
Devapar, I believe the first contract was January, so this is an updated statement of work based on a couple of changes we made. This is the group that has been working with us on the curriculum project after our consultant, the IU 13, had changed jobs.
And this is the one, it was, for whatever, like ending the end of May, was it?
This is taking us through till June right now,
June,
yep,
okay.
and this is again funded through ESSER.
Thank you very much.
I expect you to keep this for next year, because see.
I've
How's
got
your
it,
handwriting there?
I've got my answers in red so I can
Okay.
find
You
them.
need like a summary
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good
crib
idea.
sheet would be nice.
Definitely do that next year, that's no problem, yeah.
Mhm.
It's hard to
Just
keep
the
track of all
highlights.
the, who's we rely on.
I have one quick question. I know they changed the law to where we had to approve smaller and smaller contract. What's the floor now?
100, right? That's Adele, what is her floor for contract approvals? It's
$100.
100, right?
100.
Yeah, 1949 school code.
Okay, I just, in my mind, it was 1,000. I wondered why we had some of
In
these.
February, we have a list of contracts that are under like the quote limit of roughly around $13,000. Some of these we would be able to move into that list that we approved in February.
But any contract for more than $100.
Yes, and we had contacted our solicitor because, but it's stated in the school code and that hasn't changed.
Okay.
There are places that I know, I'm not saying this is legal or appropriate, but some districts interpret if something is approved through the budget process and the budget is approved, then you don't have to individually then approve those contracts.
Then we
all
wouldn't
the
have
time.
to approve anything.
Correct. Not saying that's the recommended route, but I do know that's how
That
some,
seems to be the other extreme.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can make a motion that
Yes,
we approve
the consent.
everything in the consent agenda from A to
Below.
PP.
Second.
We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka?
Aye.
Mr. Gensel?
Aye.
Mr. Eby?
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff?
Aye.
Can we open the
Are
door?
Jessica
and some
Kessler,
air?
is she here with Mrs. Henry?
Jessie, it's Jessie.
Oh, okay.
Hello, good evening. I'm here with Jessie Kassler. Jessie has worked to create bylaws for a bowling team booster club. We are trying to make sure that all of our teams have an existing booster club, and to start that, we need the bylaws and we need the officers, and Jessie has worked closely with the coach to do that. He's willing to be, I'm assuming, the president, we talked about. Oh, the treasurer.
That's great.
Okay, so he will be on the board, and we wanted to just ask for your approval of these bylaws and if there's any questions that you have.
I think this is sort of new, having bylaws for all the clubs, which I think is a good idea. The only thing that this does not have that we required before was changes have to, if we approve the bylaws, we have to approve the changes.
Right.
And in your bylaws, that's not what it says. It allows you to
Okay,
change-
so then we
change it
will, we
yourself.
can definitely add that.
That's the only thing we would need changed.
Okay,
Okay? And then we'll approve it.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I wanted Jessie to tell you a little bit of news about.
That's okay.
So the bowling team finished this year 8th in the state. They won the Eastern Regional Tournament and they won the league tournament. And now they have an opportunity.
June 8th and 9th, they'll be competing in the national
what?
tournament. June 8th and 9th, the team will be competing in the national tournament,
they
which
did
is
well
here
this
in
year.
Lancaster.
Is it? That, well, very good. Please
At
give
leisure?
them our
Yep.
congratulations. When is that?
Yeah, June 8th and 9th, so just a few weeks from now.
How many kids participate in that bowling?
We have 5 on the varsity team, but
Yeah.
there's probably another 5 or 6 on the junior varsity team as well.
That's awesome.
And then there's an alternate, right? I mean, she typically carries 6
Yeah.
to all the tournaments, so,
Yeah.
or all the matches for varsity.
I always like sports that are lifetime sports.
Yes.
Well, plus we know we're getting the elementary kids now with that after-school bowling program.
And middle school.
Yeah.
We started
future
the middle
bowlers,
school.
Let's go.
My son's a middle schooler, he'll be on the team with his older brother next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that middle school program, there was a gap, they didn't have it, and then COVID hit and they didn't, they dropped the elementary program for a while. So then when I talked with Eric at Dutch Lanes to bring the elementary program back, I said, well, have you ever thought of a middle school program? We really need to bridge the gap. And so then he reached out to the middle school and got it going, and
That's awesome.
I
so, yeah.
remember when this first started, the one thing I liked about it is a lot of the kids that do this aren't the ones that think of themselves as athletes. And it gives them a chance to understand team and time management. And it brought in a whole new group of kids under that umbrella, which I think is great.
It also doesn't hurt that they have access to nachos in an arcade.
They did, yeah, they really did great, and they really gelled as a team. It seemed like they got along, and they were always rooting for each other. His son had a perfect game, one of the matches, and the coach sent the video to me, and like his whole team was, obviously rooting for him because then we would win the match, right? But his whole team was just so happy for him and rooting for him, and when he got that final strike, like just
I can
everybody
imagine.
jumped up and cheered. It was really cool. So it was just nice to see that
Anybody was
atmosphere.
jumping
Yeah.
into it, But I do remember that in our board commendations
Yeah.
one. Perfect game.
I can't imagine, I know states, it was like standing room only, you couldn't find
Yeah.
a spot, I can't imagine how nationals will be
Yeah.
in that.
Pretty crazy.
Which
probably.
lane is it at then?
Leisure lanes.
Leisure lanes, okay. Oh, there it
Oh,
says
it's here
that.
in town?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Just one question on the-
Yeah.
Since you're here.
Yeah.
Disposal of uniforms. How do we do that? How do we dispose of Sell them or?
No, those are disposal, we put them in the trash.
Throw them in the trash?
Yeah, so anything that we want to donate or sell, we would ask for approval, for your approval to donate or sell them, but dispose of them, we just put them in the trash.
Not worth selling to?
Not
kids,
those.
Not those?
There are others that are worth like,
Okay.
we basically have, here's the ones that are in pretty good shape that we can sell.
Okay.
These are ones that are not bad, we're gonna donate, and then
These are just trash.
these are just trash. Like, these are the ones that we found in the corner that have been here for 25 years and have stains and, things on them.
Okay, thank you so
May I
much.
ask just a clarifying question? So we'll bring back Article
Yeah.
8 stating that 2/3 of the members need to approve and the school board needs to
Yes.
approve.
That's all we need.
Okay, and does that come back at the next school board meeting or?
Whenever you get it back to us,
Okay.
whenever you get it back to us.
Do you take other bylaws and just
The school provides a
There's a
template that we use, yeah.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, we can,
take a look at
update that.
It seems to, well, if you don't know, you don't know.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
no worries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. You don't have to present again. We'll just submit it.
Great, okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Mr. Johnson,
You
you have an
I'm
easement
just
agreement.
clarifying what you just said, so am I understanding that the next time they bring it back, it's gonna be part of a consent agenda?
That's, as long as it's added,
Oh, that's what I'm.
they do not have to present it again.
Thank you so much.
And just put it
You
right
put it on the consent agenda, yeah. Make that one change and we'll just put it right on there. We'll Keep it moving forward.
If you send it to Mrs. Mark.
Yep,
It took me
Look at
until
it.
he'll get it. He'll get it. He'll make it work.
Yes,
Evening.
evening.
Looks like you want something.
No, actually, E.G. Stossers wants something, so they would like a temporary construction easement. They're gonna be developing, one of their pieces of property right along Mount Sydney. I think it's where the horse farm is. They're gonna be doing like some higher end homes on a cul-de-sac type development. I think 6, 7 homes, depending upon how it lays out. So one of the things they need to do is, make some improvements on stormwater. And one of those inlets happens to be kind of right at the entrance to our property. So they need an easement to access our property to make those improvements, increase the size of a line. So PennDOT will, or the township will not allow them to do their work until this is completed, so that's kind of boilerplate. Our solicitor looked through it and created the whole thing, so it's pretty standard. So, do need action on this, this evening, so if we could do that, it'd be great.
If not, we'll take a motion to approve this. From somebody,
I move to approve the construction easement agreement as stated.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? If not, all clear. And your other item.
To the other item. As part of the campus improvement projects, we've had to do traffic studies and go through PennDOT for their recommendations, also review all that with the township. And in doing so, we have to make roadway improvements along Horseshoe, along the frontage of our property here at the high school. We also have to make improvements of the traffic signal at Horseshoe and Mount Sydney, meaning an additional turn lane at some point. So, and then also change like the openings, like with deceleration and turning lanes at the entrances off of Mount Sydney. So all due to traffic patterns, traffic flow, how many vehicles are entering and exiting the property, all of that. So our site engineer, K&W, has been working through all this with the designs and back and forth with PennDOT and the township, and we need to get some easements with some local, some of the neighboring property owners, just for pretty much for construction access. We're not really we're staying within a PennDOT right away, but we're gonna have to deal with PP&L with some pole relocations, and this is very involved. So as part of this, we put the project out to bid. Unfortunately, I think there's so much more work that's out there already being under construction. Everybody's loaded. We contacted over 20 contractors and only one actually submitted a bid. And it's, obviously you can see it's much higher than was estimated. In speaking with a lot of those contractors, they said if you go back and reevaluate it and try to do a little more of a phased project, maybe we put the stormwater things in first and then do some of, and kind of phase it out and spread the project out. And we were a little worried about remobilization fees if they're coming on and then leaving and then coming back. And they said, no, that's, they would prefer to see just it that way because they're kind of different crews. Their stormwater guys are a different crew than the guys doing the paving and the widening and those kind of things. So, yeah, and then there's the wild card of PP&L. If we can get the poles moved in time and all of that to happen. So they tend to work at their own schedule for that kind of work. If you lose power and the power's down, lose a transformer, yeah, they're out pretty quickly. But things like this, yeah, you're at their mercy. So my recommendation, as you see in the letter, is just, we reject the bids. So I would suggest,
And we'll redo it.
and we'll rebid it and look for a more,
Do we have a time limit when this has to be completed?
working that out with the township, but it's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a time frame, but it's
Yeah,
not impeding us getting into any
okay.
of our buildings at this
All
point.
right, then we will see this back again.
Yep, you will see it back, so if I would think there'd probably be a motion
Okay.
here to reject,
All
so.
right, thank you.
And what's the
Thanks.
timeline again?
The timeline, we'd be looking to bid it here probably in the next few months with doing some work in the fall for some of the stormwater upgrades, and then look at late spring, summer of next year for the actual road widening and all that.
And
Really
that-
don't want to be doing the road work during the school year.
Right, and it's not gonna interfere with the Stoltzfus.
No, no
all.
interference with that at all. It was kind of one of those, are we gonna get there first or are they gonna get there first kind of situation, so
You want a motion for us to reject the,
if you reject a bid, yep,
your motion to reject the bid?
okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
We'll
who's
see
the
you back
second?
here.
Do you need to do a roll call vote on that or anything, Adette?
What?
We just made a motion to reject the bid. Do you need a roll call voter on that or?
Oh,
That's what Ken
do
asked
we have,
for.
to vote to reject? Yeah, I guess we do.
Yeah, probably should.
I guess we do. No, I don't.
So she
think-
ran the motion, he seconded it. Do you need?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry.
You got your rejection.
I got my
I
rejection.
wonder why everybody is looking around.
Not the first one today, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you much.
Dr. Mann, some textbooks. Did everybody read the math book?
There's a quiz.
Not
I
yet.
fail it anyway.
Not yet.
All right,
Yeah.
Get my son to answer.
all right,
We were,
what's that?
I'm not a math person.
So, again, good evening. Last week I had mentioned about the math textbooks and we said about getting approval tonight. I don't need that tonight. It's part of the budget, so we can do that next month.
Well, let
So
me-
what,
and
so what
Can
I,
we approve it if we want it, or didn't you get it in for anyone to look at?
no, it's been in. I put it in place.
Well,
Marilyn
Is
Yeah,
mailed it.
get it
anyone,
there.
is
What's that?
anyone
Why don't we
wanted
approve it, just get it off the list?
postponed?
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that. If you're,
Does Kathy have a, Kathy has a
I
question?
didn't look at them because I
You
understood.
want the vote postponed?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Do you want to review them?
okay.
You want
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Okay.
Sure. It might not take me long.
You want to run back and take a look at it real quick?
So,
All right, fine, I'll get it
So
back.
for next,
right.
okay.
And then the next one is for
Spanish textbooks.
world language. Again, same type of thing. I'm going to present this tonight. I will have Marilyn email you the online access codes and things of that nature. And the vendor sent me samples, so I have samples that came this morning, so I'll have those here. And again, take a look at them, and at the next meeting, if you have any questions. Next month, right. Lenny Parlo is our world language supervisor. She's here tonight in the event that somebody had any questions, but I don't know, you haven't had a chance to look at stuff. So if you have questions throughout this process, feel free to email me and I will get with either of the department chairs that solicit those answers for you, as well as at the next meeting if you have questions.
What languages do we have at the high school?
Right now, we have Spanish and German.
We draw French.
Yeah, it's dying.
Okay.
We have a couple of sections yet, and I think maybe 1 or 2 sections next year, I think. But then it's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
My
Okay.
daughter wants to learn it, but
Yeah.
it's like you
What
need to
happens
get a lot
for,
of the kids
Yeah,
class together.
bring friends.
We'll have it for next month.
You got it.
Okay.
Deb, in that consent agenda, I forgot to address the policies. I did find one with a grammar error, and I understood that we
A
needed to
grammar
bring that
error,
up.
just call and have it corrected. We don't have to separately approve it for minor changes like that,
Okay. Thank you.
okay? Are there any questions on the finance and operations report? And any
Thank
questions
you for
on
the pictures.
curriculum and
That's
instruction
what kind of
report?
different.
What have I skipped?
What's that?
Have I skipped something?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
He just likes the photos.
Yeah, I thought the photos was kind of neat, kind of cool. One of the reports had photos in it, pictures of the kids. Did it not?
What pictures of the kids?
I thought in one of the operations reports, I thought it had it. Is that the curriculum instruction? I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
Okay. Well, the same thing. Any
Yeah.
questions on curriculum
No,
instruction?
it just does. A nice touch.
Federal funds, is it
Someplace I read about Skyward,
about what?
the Skyward Conference. Is
Yeah, that's in
that
the fund,
Dan's?
that's in the business office. There's, Skyward is our financial accounting software, and they have a users group conference once a year. So Anthony and other members of the business office attended that.
Where was that listed?
It would be in the.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
it was in the
Okay,
finance
That's right,
operations
that's right.
report.
I got you. You're right, I
Yeah,
remember.
okay. So it's the finance data?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. And what is this about Route 23 sidewalk project?
Say that again?
The Route 23 sidewalk project. Dan, was that in your list of things that you accomplished for the month?
That would not have been in mine. So the operations.
Operations? Which one are you talking about?
Oh, it
Route
was,
23, did you say?
yes,
Did you have something in your report about Route 23?
and it's down
I don't
here,
remember seeing it.
transportation. Teams meeting with Red 2 regarding Route 23 sidewalk project.
Oh, that was probably
In Dawn
Dawn Dixon.
Transportation.
That would be our director of transportation. That probably was in her report. As far as I know, they're continuing their improvements of the sidewalks down through Route 23.
Right.
So the impact of that with transportation and busing and all of that. So I think it was a meeting with all the parties that be, because it's obviously a state road, the township was involved, and they invited us to attend as well.
Okay. I just didn't know if Leola Elementary actually had a sidewalk.
It does.
Okay, the sidewalk is on 23.
It is not.
No.
Okay,
That's on School Lane. but-
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's why I wasn't sure what
But there
that,
is a sidewalk system that does serve that school.
right. Thank you.
Okay, board reports. There is no IU report or Lancaster County Academy because they didn't meet yet this month. They're both running late. PSBA report sort of speaks for itself. There's all sorts of craziness going on with the budget. I don't try to keep up with it on a daily basis, but whenever they finally get to something in particular, I don't expect they're gonna have it done by the end of the month. I don't even think they're trying to get it done by the end of the month. CTC, Mr. Hurst is not here. Does the construction team have a report?
It's really just a waiting game, school end, and they start Leola.
Okay.
So our next construction meeting will be in July to see how everything's going at the start of that process, but we expect it to be I think Ken was the one who said it's
I
four of the
understand we
same
have
guys
many
that
of the
did this
same,
building.
the same contractors
Yeah,
as
and
we
they've
had
played
it.
really well and done a
Yeah,
great
that's
job, so we expect it to go swimmingly.
Does anyone else have a report of any sort? Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the board on any topic at all? If not, we'll move on. We don't have a vice president's report, boards, initiatives, or announcements. Nothing, all quiet. I did have, I think I brought it with me, let me do a quick check. I did have a request for us to support, I don't wanna get in the habit of, every month having somebody's resolutions on here, but for House Bill 1983. I don't know if I guess I didn't share that, it just came through. I'll wait and get that to you afterwards. The dates are listed. There's no questions. I'll accept a motion to go to executive session for legal and personnel reasons.
Move for executive session for legal and personnel reasons.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.